right, let's talk about what is the most effective counterattack for you based on who you are. There's so many videos out there that, this is one of the videos I shared too, on the most effective target areas on a human body. Now, even though these are all great target areas, which is the best area for a defender to counterattack to, depends on who you are as a person and on the attacker. So the most efficient counterattack and the most efficient target area to counterattack really is a sum of these three things: the pain it causes the attacker, or the potential it has to cause pain to the attacker, the willingness of the defender to execute the attack, and the skill of the attacker. How likely is the attacker to defend that area? Okay, so we're going to break this down, and then you're going to find out what is the best counterattack for you based on who you are as a person, what scenarios you're put into, and who you're likely to go up against. So we're going to talk about all of these 3 points. We're going to break them down, share each of these areas, and then in the end find what the most effective counterattack is for you. And you're going to calculate that at the very end of this video. So before I get started, I want to thank this commenter for inspiring me to make this video. And if you're new to this channel and you want to learn more about self-defense and empowerment for women, as a professional woman, as a woman who's independent and travels, subscribe to this channel and you'll get to see more videos like these. Okay, so the first point is what causes the most pain to the attacker. Now, if your attacker is a male attacker, I think we've already covered this in so many videos, right? A groin kick is going to cause that male attacker the most amount of pain. And if you're a female attacker, yes, it can still be groin kick. It can be a punch to the breast. It can be throat. That is also really painful. So there are those areas depending on the gender. Now, it also depends on the height. There is a height difference. So if you're really short and your attacker is really tall, are you even able to reach their throat? Or it's not even the ability. Are you willing to reach their throat and expose your sensitive areas? Or you just really want to be here and do something here in this range without reaching or reaching high up? Okay, so that is another thing to think about. As a defender, there are several things to think about, right? Which is, am I willing to go for groin and eyes? Eyes are another great area to attack. So most self-defense instructors out there really teach, especially when they teach women's self-defense classes, they really teach their women, because they're most likely going to come up against a taller male opponent, attacker. They teach women to go for the eyes and the groin. Okay. Now, they are right only in one equation, which is the first part of it, which is what causes the most pain to the attacker. Now, from a defender's perspective, here is the problem. Most women, female defenders, actually don't like to attack these two areas. There was a study that I believe Seattle PD did, or I don't know who exactly, I think it was Seattle PD did the study. They interviewed several women, I don't know, it was 50, 100 women who were attacked before, and asked them what happened, why didn't they do something to defend themselves, so on and so forth. And they found this pattern that there were several women, most of them I think, knew how to defend themselves. They had taken a class at some point or the other, and they had learned about eye gouges and groin kicks, but they didn't go for that. And the interviewer asked, why? You knew that, so why didn't you do it? And the women said, overall, the answer was, yeah, that's kind of gross. We didn't want to do that. We just wanted to get away. We didn't really want to touch a sensitive, intimate part of this person. That's just gross. I didn't want to do that. So there's another psychology study out there on defenses, but in general, we tend to do 10% of what we say we're going to do. So in terms of self-defense, I say that all the time too. Like, oh, if a person says that, I'm going to say that, and I'm going to take him down if he attacks me, right? I have that attitude too. And after reading that study, it really made me think, am I actually going to do that? Or am I just going to freeze and stand there and look like an idiot? Okay, because that's the psychology. We tend to bring no more than 10% or do 10% of what we say we're really, really going to do, okay? So given that, if you think, oh yeah, I'm totally going to go for the balls in the eyes, you don't know if in reality you would, or you're going to think, oh, it's gross, I don't want to touch there, and this happens really, really fast, okay? So that second equation is really important. Even if these two are the most effective areas, if you're not willing to go there, and if you feel like, oh yeah, you don't want to risk it, then what's the point? What is the point? Okay, so if you have to assign a score, you know that 10 on 10, right? Eyes and groin are 10 on 10. And then if you have to go a little bit lower, 8 or 9, or maybe you say groin is 10, eyes are 9, your throat is 8, right? Now, after that, I would say, I would put solar plexus. Yes, there's quite a few things, right? Your ankle, if you can stomp on the ankle correctly and break it, that's right there on a 7. I would also put solar plexus somewhere around there. I would put that on a score of about 7, 6 or 7, okay? And of course, that score also depends on what your skills are as a defender. So there's so many variations. So yeah, solar plexus aren't as effective, but just hang in there, okay? So just from that perspective of how much pain it causes the attacker, you have some scores. Now, as a defender, how willing are you to go there? 10 on 10, or okay, 9 on 10, 7, 8, whatever, write that score for these different techniques, solar plexus, so on and so forth. Solar plexus, you might be more willing to go there because it's just straight, it's direct. You might not be willing to raise your arm for something. You might not be willing to do something with your leg or your foot because you don't want to feel like you're off balance. You might not have a good balance for whatever reason and you're really scared to lift a foot. So you just want to do something with your hands. So you might be willing to throw an elbow to the jaw, but maybe you don't want to raise your hand again if the person stops, right? So put that number down. And whatever your number you put down, divide it by 2, because you know you're going to be less effective or less likely to do what you think you're going to do. Now comes the final score, which is how likely is it that the attacker is going to block your counter attack. Now, if this person has any experience in martial arts, or if he's just one of those people who attacks people all the time, you know that he is most likely to defend his groin. People just know this, right? They're very, very likely to defend. I trained with a person who served in the Navy, I believe, for several years, and as an engineer or something like that. So I trained with this person, and he's the one who actually taught me, big guy, who taught me that, Fawzia, don't keep going for groin kicks, because a person like me, like him, would always defend it, no matter what you tried. And I tried it as an experiment. Okay, hopefully we can do a video with him later in the future. But yeah, I tried all sorts of kicks and punches and, all sorts of things. Oh, he defended all of them. And then I tried to throw other things, he defended those. And then I came back to the groin kick, right? Nope, he was always ready to defend his groin kick, okay, or his groin, okay? So depending on who your attacker is, the area they're most likely to defend is the groin. Other areas they're most likely to defend after that, so that's a -10 score. You're going to subtract this from your score, okay? So I'll just say 10 points for your groin for defending. And then maybe 9 for eyes and other parts of the face, because they know that these are the 2 most important parts they're going to defend, right? So you can say 8 or 9 depending on the parts of the face. 9 probably for the eyes, because they know what's going to happen. 8 probably for the nose. 7 probably for the jaw. They may or may not see that coming. They may, because women tend to push the jaw anyway. Neck is the same thing. They know women are going to reach for their necks. They're going to probably protect their neck. And that might be a 7 or 8 as well. Really depends, right? And guess what? Right? So I would say 6 or 7 for those. Okay, so now we've covered 10, 9, 8, 7, 6. I would say as close to 0 as possible for the solar plexus. Why? First of all, nobody knows about it. Really, people don't think. As an attacker, you're thinking, okay, I want to protect my face and neck. I want to protect my groin. Everything else is fine. I can take punches and kicks on my arm and my legs and stuff. No big deal. Okay, so maybe ankles, they might protect their foot. They don't want to get stomped. So sure, that could be a 5, right? So, but nobody thinks, first of all, of their solar plexus. And second of all, it's really hard to block your solar plexus. Even if you're standing sideways, it's really easy to get their solar plexus. So I'm going to have my partner come in and show this to you and how hard it is to actually defend, even though you're actively trying to, and you know this is what's coming next, okay? So this person might be punching me or something, and I'm here, right? So if I go in, it's really hard, and we're going to do it as 50% speed, okay? So that's what I'm going for. So you're coming, you're attacking, I'm just going, I'm right here, okay? I just pushed. I just palm pushed, okay? Then maybe you're like doing something with your legs and here, right? And you're probably trying to grab and pull me in, which is even better because he pulled me in, and There it was. I was right there. Maybe I even, depending on my height difference, maybe it's just I headbutt him because it just happens. Okay, so let's go on for a few more seconds. He might be trying to do other things. It's just there. His solar plexus are just there. I mean, try to turn away and protect and still try and attack me. Protect your solar plexus, but still try and attack me, right? Like grab my hair and things like that, right? Yeah. Protect your solar plexus. It's hard because you turn away to protect your solar plexus. How are you going to attack? Thank you. So guess what? I would give it a 1 or a 2. That's it. They really can't block the solar plexus. So if you have to tally these scores, really depends, right? Now, the answers are going to change, the numbers are going to change. But for me personally, as an average woman, 5'4", nothing special, right? Okay, fine, I have some experience in martial arts. But if I just think of just an average person like me, I know first from statistics that, yes, I'll give 10 points to the groin. But if I then subtract, or if I say, okay, I'm not likely at all to go for the groin, maybe because I know the statistics on this, I might only give 2 points, 3 points to that because I'm not very likely to go there. And then I'm going to subtract 10 points out of it. Yeah, the score doesn't look very good, does it? Not very good. I'm as close to 0 in my effectiveness of counterattacking to this target area, being the groin. Now, if I change the equation a little bit and say, okay, so solar plexus, 7 effectiveness score in terms of the pain and damage and stuff it causes. Okay, now how likely am I to go there? Very, very likely. Even if I'm not trying, I'm more likely to go there accidentally than any other place. So do that for yourself. How likely are you to attack a specific target area? What skills are your opponent going to have? I mean, are you in a domestic violence relationship where your person has some Krav Maga black belt, or he works in the Navy, Army, has a lot of skills, then that might change. Or maybe you have skills, maybe you are training, right? I have a friend who shared with me that now I think she's 2nd degree black belt in Krav Maga, or 3rd degree. She just got one of her degrees several weeks ago. And at the time, she was a 1st degree black belt, and she was in a DV relationship where it was her boyfriend or her husband, I'm not really sure. They lived together and he beat her. He had no experience at all. He did not train in Krav Maga. And she was a 1st degree black belt in Krav Maga. And she just she couldn't defend herself. And there are other factors because of that, right? It's not that she didn't have the skills or the ability. It's just that it's an intimate person. She cared for this person. She loved the person. And she thought that it was her fault that he's beating her. She should do better. This is pretty standard. I know if you're watching this, you're thinking, that's stupid. It's her. She's an idiot. She should have never thought that. Trust me, if you are in one of these situations, if you know anybody, it's a psychological damage more than physical damage, right? Because they get you down psychologically first, where you think it's your fault, you're an idiot, you're stupid. And then when they hit you, you think you deserve it. And so you can't counterattack it, especially if you love this person. So there's a lot of layers to this, right? So think about that. Even if you think, oh, that's just stupid. If somebody, my husband or boyfriend or whatever, tried to beat me, I would just get him. You're more likely to be beaten down psychologically and not be able to do that. These are real. This is a real situation. This happens. So consider these factors and get a score for yourself. Who you are, who your opponent most likely is going to be, what skills do you have, what skills do they have, how likely are you to go for areas you think are icky, or are you totally comfortable with that? And do some research, psychology research out there. What happens to people? Freezing is very common. Being mentally broken down by an abusive partner is very common. These things happen. So what are you going to do in those situations? Very important to think about all of this. So for me personally, my score and my comfort is solar plexus. And that's what I teach people. Most women are going to have, against a male opponent, very high likelihood if they go for solar plexus, putting all of these factors together. So that's what I teach. Go for the solar plexus. They don't see it coming and you're more likely to be able to execute that technique, even though there are more effective techniques in terms of pain caused to the attacker. There are other factors that could make that technique to the groin, for example, not as effective, or to the eyes, for example, not as effective, or even stomping. People don't like to lift their leg because it throws them off balance to then reach and stomp, right? So those kinds of things, think about them. And I would love to know what your score is. Tally the numbers. Put them below in the comments, and I would love to know what you came up with. What is the most effective technique for you to defend with? Best target area to counterattack to? What did you come up with? What was the score? Was the score solar plexus 15 or eyes 3? Whatever it is, let me know. I'm curious to see who you are, who you're going to attack by, and this will be a fun experiment to do for you and for me, for everybody else. So if you'd like to learn more about training in self-defense and in empowerment, check out the link below. It's under a 1-year training program to get your black belt in self-defense and empowerment, specially designed for professional women. So take a look at it, see if it's a good fit for you, and we can continue the conversation. See you in the next video. Bye.